These are the 3D Viewmaster Fairy Tales Hans Christian Andersen's. Viewmaster Reel A, The Little Mermaid, Picture 1. Far down in the clear, blue depths of the sea stood the coral palace of the Sea King. He had 6 beautiful daughters. They were mermaids. They were just like people, except that they had no legs or feet, only a fish's tail. The youngest daughter had skin as delicate as rose petals, and her eyes were as blue as the deepest sea. The youngest mermaid often dreamed about the world above. She had seen the bottoms of ships passing overhead and longed to see the people in them. On her 15th birthday, the Sea King told her, "Now you can swim up to see the world of human beings." When the little mermaid reached the top of the water, it was night. She heard music and saw the far-off lights of a ship. She swam close and looked into a porthole. Inside the ship, crowds of people danced and sang as they celebrated the 16th birthday of a handsome young prince. Suddenly, a terrible storm broke. Great waves lifted the ship and broke it in two. Picture 2. The little mermaid saw the prince fall into the sea. Quickly she swam to him and held his head above water until dawn. Then they swam to shore and laid the unconscious prince on the sandy beach. Nearby stood the white buildings of a convent. Picture 3. Hiding behind rocks, she watched the girl from the convent find the prince, who woke up just then. Sadly, the mermaid thought, "He never will know I saved him." More and more she longed to be a human being. Her father told her, "We live 300 years, then become foam on the waves." Humans live only a short time, but have souls that never die. "How can I get a soul?" she asked. "If a human being would marry you, he would share his soul with you. But your fish's tail is considered very ugly on earth." Picture 4. She sighed and looked at her tail. "I will go to the terrible sea witch for help." The sea witch frowned. "You want to shed your tail and have legs to win the love of a human prince? Foolish mermaid! I will sell you a magic mixture to drink. It will give you legs. No dancer will move more gracefully, but every step will hurt like sharp knives. For payment, you must give me your beautiful voice." The sea witch gave her a shell containing the magic drink and touched her tongue. Now she was unable to talk or sing. Picture 5. On the marble sea steps of the palace, she drank the burning magic medicine. She felt pain like a sword slicing through her body and fainted. When the prince awakened her, she had the prettiest legs a girl would ever want. The prince and she became good friends. She could not talk to him, but she often danced for him, although every step was torture to her. He told her, "You are very dear to me, but I love a girl from a convent. She once saved my life." Picture 6. One day he said, I must sail to a far kingdom. My father wants me to marry its princess, but I can't wait, for I still love the girl of the convent. When the princess came on board the ship, the prince cried, "It is you who saved my life. You must marry me." That night after the wedding, the little mermaid stood on top of the ship's rail. She had failed. Now she must die. Picture 7. She threw herself into the sea. Instead of dissolving into foam, she was alive in the air. Other airy beings told her, "By courage and pain you have become a daughter of the air. You shall cool fevers, spread the fragrance of flowers, and in 300 years of good deeds shall gain an immortal soul." Few must the real be? Picture 1. The Steadfast Tin Soldier. 25 new tin soldiers lay in a box. They were all exactly alike except one. He had only one leg. He was the last soldier to be made, and the supply of tin had run out before he was finished. But he could stand just as firmly as the two-legged soldiers. A little boy opened the box and shouted, "Tin soldiers!" He took them out and set them on a table in front of a wonderful paper castle. Wax swans swam on a mirror lake, beside which danced a lovely lady. She was cut out of paper, but wore a skirt of fine sheer fabric. Since the dancer, too, stood on one leg, the tin soldier thought, "That's the wife for me. I wonder how I can win her. She lives in a castle and I have only a box that I share with 24 others." Picture 2. The faithful tin soldier was put on guard on the window sill. Then the clock struck 12. Pop! Out from a trick box sprang an imp. "Tin soldier," said the ugly imp, "you must be punished for looking at my lady of the castle." The imp knocked him out of the open window. Picture 3. Outside it was raining. Two boys had made a boat from a newspaper and were sailing it in the gutter. Luckily, it sailed under the window just as the soldier fell, and he landed in the paper boat. It rocked and turned, but he stood brave and straight. Picture 4. As the boat sailed under a blank, a big water rat appeared, growling, "Where's your passport? Stop him! He hasn't paid his toll." But the tin soldier just held his rifle tighter. The boat rushed on. The water finally shot out to fall into a canal. Picture 5. The paper boat plunged into the canal. The tin soldier fell right through the wet paper and into the mouth of a big fish. Picture 6. Dark and cramped inside the fish, the tin soldier lay bravely. Suddenly the fish jerked hard, then was still. Later, daylight appeared and a hand reached in. The fish had been caught, sold and cut open. Picture 7. The tin soldier was carried into the living room and placed on a table. He was in the same house, on the same table, in front of the same paper castle. The paper dancer smiled at him as if welcoming him home. He smiled back and thought, "That's the wife for me." Viewmaster Reel C. The Emperor's New Clothes. Picture 1. Many years ago there was an emperor who was so vain that he spent all his money on fine clothes. He had a different robe for each hour of the day and spent most of his time admiring himself in a mirror. One day, 2 swindlers or dishonest men came to see him. They said they were weavers and sniffed scornfully at the emperor's most costly fabrics. "We can weave for you," said they, "a truly fine cloth. It is a magic material. It is invisible to anybody who is stupid or who is not fit for his job." Picture 2. They rented a shop, set up a loom, and pretended to weave. When the emperor came to see their work, they acted as if they were holding up a sample of cloth and asked, "How do you like it, your majesty?" "Heavens," thought the emperor, "the cloth is invisible to me. I must be either stupid or unfit to be an emperor. It would never to do admit it." Aloud he exclaimed, "Delightful, most exquisite." Picture 3. The 2 swindlers set to work to make the emperor new clothes for the next parade. The emperor always paraded up the main street once a month so that his subjects could admire him. Everybody in town crowded to the shop window to watch the weavers cutting and sewing away at air. No one dared to admit he couldn't see any cloth, for fear the others would think he was stupid. Picture 4. The day of the parade, the 2 swindlers came to the palace. Each raised his arm as if he were holding something and said, "These are your Imperial Majesty's knee breeches. This is your Imperial Majesty's robe. Now, if you will undress." When the emperor had taken off his clothes, they carefully dressed him in, nothing saying. "How beautiful it fits, and as light as a spider's web. You might almost think you were nothing at all." Picture 5. So the emperor started off in the parade. Nobody who watched was honest enough to admit that he saw no clothes. Everybody said, "Oh, how wonderful the emperor's new clothes are." Picture 6. Suddenly, a little boy who was too young to be dishonest cried out, "But the emperor has no clothes on at all." Picture 7. The grown-ups gasped in surprise. Then someone said, "The child is the only honest person in the kingdom." Soon everyone was shouting, "The emperor has no clothes on at all." And the emperor knew they were right. He finished the parade dressed in nothing but a big rosy blush.